right. There I am. Let's record this podcast, right? So what we are doing tonight is a bit late with the private citizen, but better late than never. So we're going to talk about the Drachenlord again today, which I did an episode on a while ago. And a lot has happened, so I thought let's mix it up. Let's mix up the more serious topics and do one on this because I think it's very interesting as well. So yes, no, I don't want to update the program right now. Thank you. I'm trying to record a podcast. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. All right. Looks good. Does it sound good? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. All right. Yes, we can do this. The usual ground rules apply. Won't be I won't, interact with chat as much for the next, 2 hours or whatever. While we are recording this podcast, afterwards I will be back. That'll be back to normal, and while I edit it and then put it out, and then we'll play some more Deathloop probably, if I'm up for it, and let's do this. Let's get right into this. Let's record a podcast. It's about time. It's about time to get this done. Alrighty, I think I switched this the channel description. That should all be fine. Right, let's crack straight into it here. You're listening to the Private Citizen podcast for critical thinkers. This is episode 110 for Saturday, the 12th of March, 2022. Drachenlord on tour. Hello, everybody. My name is Fab, coming to you live from Düsseldorf, still in quarantine. I'm going to get into that in a second. Nice to have you here. Episode's a bit late. I'm going to get into that in a second as well. But today, whatever time it is for you, we're going to talk about the Drachenlord again. Rainer Winkler. I did an episode on him a while ago. What episode was that? I should check that. If you go to Private Citizen Press, there's show notes for all the episodes, including episode 94. That was in November, start of November. I did. That was the first episode on the Drachenlord, and a lot has happened, and there's some stuff I want to maybe revise from the first episode. I've learned a lot more things since then, and then we need to revise some stuff. But we're gonna do that in a second. Nice to have you along. As usual, I'm streaming this live on Twitch as I record it, so there will be video on YouTube. All of that, all the links, everything is in the show notes. privatecitizen.press. Before we get into the actual topic here, I'm still in quarantine. My wife's she's gotten it a lot worse. It's obviously SARS-CoV-2. It's probably Omicron. She's gotten a lot worse than me, but she also has some other health issues, and she's just like she's doing good. She's just like not over it yet. And I can feel I was being attacked for the last 2 weeks by the virus. You can still hear my voice is a bit rough. I was actually not recording a podcast on Wednesday and Thursday because my voice was not up for podcasting. I thought So this is why we're a bit late. This quarantine's been going on. We're now in day 12. And I think I'm probably not positive anymore. I could probably test and get out, but I'm just playing it safe. We got enough food. I bought a ton of food, and we actually got some stuff delivered today. We got some HelloFresh in the other day, so got stuff to cook. So we're fine. I'm just staying inside. It's just like that. The longer quarantine has just thrown a spanner in the works. I've been looking after my wife a little bit, and it's just the schedule's all over the place. Please excuse that. Once this is a bit of a special situation, right? Once this is over, everything's going to be back to normal. So just so you're aware, that's what's going on. I'll do an episode a week. It might be later. Again, next week, there's some stuff that's happening next week. I probably won't be able to record on Wednesday. I don't know if I can record before that. I don't know if I can record on Thursday. But, it'll happen. Just be assured. And I'll get back to the regular schedule, the regular Wednesday release schedule as soon as possible. Thanks to all my supporters for supporting this podcast and, for believing in me if the episode doesn't come out for a few days. I do appreciate that a lot. But with that out of the way, let's get into the actual topic. And I just want to revise something from the first episode before we get into what I actually want to talk about today. So for this episode, I sometimes do episodes that build onto each other. And for this episode in particular, I would recommend. Sorry, I'm just drinking some red wine here. You can't just I'm still recovering, but it's not that bad. I gotta get back to having some nice days in my nice things in my life. So I would recommend more than with other episodes, maybe to go listen to the first episode. It was episode 94. If you haven't listened to that, you probably should listen to that before you listen to this episode, because in that episode I explain who Rainer Winkler, the YouTuber known as Drachenlord, is. Just a very quick recap. Probably Germany's most infamous YouTuber, and for 10 years he's been on YouTube, and people don't really like him. He has a lot of haters, as he says. And the last episode I went into how much of that is hate and whatever. And what I want to mostly readdress is I talked in the previous episode, on this topic. I talked a lot about what is happening to Mr. Winkler, is that bullying. And I have more thoughts on this. Basically, mostly because since that episode, I've watched a hell of a lot of his videos. I watched, hundreds of hours of his videos. I watched a lot of content that the so-called haters put out. So I'm now a lot better informed on what's going on. And I have a more nuanced view. And I'm going to try to get into this again and try to explain what I think is happening. And this is something that people in the general public don't really understand, that the press that has reported about this doesn't understand at all. So there's many, many people that believe the wrong thing about this. So basically what's going on is, I'm going to call these people, I don't think they're haters. And I don't think what's happening in large part is hate, even though they say themselves that it's hate. But I'm going to call them hater, with AI, because that's kind of like it's like a community. What you have to understand is that these people are, so Drachenlord is a YouTuber, and these people are legitimately his community. They're just a very toxic community. They're probably the most toxic community I've ever seen. But they're still his community, and I'll get into why in a bit. But so basically, what they are doing to him in in many respects isn't even bullying. In like a lot of it is just trolling, right? There's a lot of trolling. I think you would just, there's a lot of online, people take his videos and they play his videos and then they pause it and then they comment it, like they do reactions basically on all of his videos. And that I wouldn't call bullying. I would, there's a lot of stuff that goes online as trolling. There's a lot of stuff that happens in his real life that I would also call trolling. A lot of it isn't, I wouldn't classify as hate or hate speech or anything like that. I would just say they're trying to annoy him. Now, you're getting into an area where, if you do that in real life, at some point you are bullying somebody. Well, I don't know. Some of the stuff the haters are doing to Drachenlord is from the... If you look at it from just the mechanics of what's going on, you would say that's bullying, right? They go to his house, they yell and shout and throw things at his house till he comes out, for example. I mean, if you do that to somebody in school, right? They don't have a house, but roughly speaking, this kind of thing is bullying. But there's a very, very important distinction that I also brought up last time, but that I want to go in a little bit deeper. So I was bullied in school, right? And there's a reason why people are often bullied in school. I mean, one reason is kids. Kids are shit, and they're not mature enough to recognize that some people are just different, and then they tend to bully people like that. But another reason is that you can't get away from school, right? When I was bullied in school, I couldn't get away. I had to go to school. In Germany, you can not go to school, right? You have to go to school, so you can't escape your bullies. And we actually had a producer of the show write in, who is a school teacher, and I mentioned this previously in a feedback section, right? On the show, I said, he was writing in and was saying like the problem for kids he feels like that he's dealing with in his job today is actually that, when you and me, like he's about my age, I guess, when we were bullied back in the day, we could just go home right after the half day of school. Then at least you could go home and you'd be alone and you'd be happy, which is definitely something I did, and that worked for me. I just hated going to school in the morning. But kids, to some extent, he says they can't do that anymore because all their life is online, which makes sense, makes complete sense to me. My life's to a large extent online, and if I was in school, it would be. And then your bullies seek you out in your online life, right? They find out what your Steam handle is or whatever, or your Xbox gamer tag, and then they stalk you in games and they do shit online, right? And that's a valid reason. So I think there's also online bullying, and I think that is also an issue. But generally, bullying largely is characterized if you don't only look at the mechanics of what the people are actually doing, like pulling your clothes, calling your names, throwing things at you. Then bullying is characterized by the person being bullied being in a situation where they can't escape. If they can escape, they will just escape, right? When I was a teenager, they could only bully me in school, right? Like if I was in a sports club and I would have been bullied there, I would just quit the sports club or went to another sports club, right? Or if you're in a group of friends, you just stop being with those people, right? You just avoid the people that are bullying because they're not all, right? There's just like in school for me, it was just like 2 or 3 people. Other kids tend to pile on, but like the people that are a problem are just a few people, and you can generally get out of the way. Usually bullying is characterized by that. Now, the big difference of what is happening to Drachenlord is that he, they come to his house, so he can't get away in that respect, but he could quit YouTube, and that's basically what all these people want. That's why they harass him. But he could actually get away. He's a grown-up person. He could change his life and get away. And he's kind of done something that now that I'm going to talk about later that you'd think like that's what he's doing, but he's actually not. Because he can't, he could technically, but he doesn't want to. Because basically what has happened is that this guy did YouTube videos. People didn't like him. He got a toxic community of haters that don't really like him, but he makes money off them, right? They are literally all the people that are watching his YouTube videos. The people that go on Twitter and go like, oh, defend Drachenlord and say, leave him alone, and the Sasha Lobos that write columns and say, it's not his fault, leave him alone. Those people don't watch his videos. He has nobody watches that guy's videos, unless it's like a train wreck, right? I started watching it because of research. I want to know more, but I'm actually quite in it now, and I watch a lot of people reacting his videos because it's like really entertaining. It's kind of like it's like Jersey Shore, right? It's like Big Brother, just in real life. The guy's just like an idiot, and he lives his life like an idiot, except it's not a TV show where it's semi-scripted. The guy's actually an idiot. It's like Trailer Park Boys in real life. Right, it's like if you don't know who Drachenlord is, and you never seen any of his videos, if you've seen Trailer Park, just imagine one of these guys, and that was actually a real person, like legit. That was like a documentary. That's what it is. Like, this guy has a life like that. He's about that smart, and he just films everything he does. So it's kind of like, it's entertainment. It's like real life trash TV, except it's real. But the problem is that nobody who likes the guy watches his videos, because if you're listening to this because I tweeted of it on Twitter, and you're like, I want to check this out and I want to know what this guy's on about and why is he against Drachenlord, and you're defending the guy, whatever. You think these people are evil, they are stalking him, and they're bad, right? And you think the guy actually has legitimate fans. If you think that, I have a challenge for you. Go and watch about, I would say, 4 to 6 hours of his videos, and you can watch it off his YouTube channel if you want. Drachenlord, 2 words on YouTube, and just watch his videos, and don't do something on the side. Don't just let them running and do something. I mean, you can probably just pay attention. Just pay attention to what he says, and watch 4 hours to 6 hours of his videos. And after that, if you still think that people actually watch this guy's videos because they like him, or they're the only reason to watch his videos is because you want to see disaster unfold, but you're not learning anything of the guy, right? He's dumb. He has stupid opinions, which is okay. I mean, you can have those, but nobody would watch those videos because they're like, oh, this guy's like me, or why do you watch other content creators? Because to learn something. To be entertained, to laugh. You don't even laugh with this guy. If the guy makes a joke, it's horribly, anything he does that he thinks it's jokes, it's horribly sexist, or he's talking about his masturbation devices, which is okay, but it's not funny. You think that's funny? It's nobody. I can say that now. I've watched hundreds. I've probably watched, I don't know, maybe even probably not 1,000, maybe 1,000. I've watched a lot of Drachenlord since November, right? I've watched a lot of stuff, and yeah, nobody watches that because of that. So that means that his whole community, the people who watch his videos, i.e., give him money via YouTube, but via watching ads on his YouTube videos, and also he's streaming, right? So he's streaming on YouTube, and he's got a subscriber-only chat. So you have to pay money to write messages to him, and there's people writing messages to him, and there's maybe 1 or 2 each stream, 1 or 2 messages that you think maybe, okay, there's a guy who's actually come in there because he's read Sasha Lobo's column or whatever. You want to support the guy, right? But the rest, they're all trolls. They're literally, he's got his, that's why I call them his community, because they're his community. That part, I mean, there are more other haters that go don't watch his video, don't give him any money. But there are a lot of people in the hater community that give him money. They pay money to troll him, to write messages, and to then immediately get banned or whatever. And they pay €5 a month or whatever to just be in his chat and to egg him on. And that's how he makes all of his money. So that's the reason why he keeps egging on the haters all the time. I mentioned this in the first episode as well. That he does that. The reason is very simple. He does that because he needs to, because those are his people. Those are his community, right? And they're literally the people that give him money. So it's like this really weird relationship that I think probably no other YouTuber has. I mean, I've got into this kind of bubble. I don't know about other countries, but apparently in Germany there's this bubble of YouTubers who are just like, I don't know. There are 2 or 3 YouTubers that are like really asocial. They brand themselves as assholes, as like dumb, unintelligent assholes, right? And there's like this niche of people who watch these guys. Guys are really gross, like, I don't know, overweight. There's actually one of the guys who's called Axel98. He got thrown off YouTube because in one of his videos, he had a bucket in the background of old beer, right? He would like just drink on stream a lot. And like, I think he's thrown up on stream, whatever, falling asleep. Anyway, he would just like put old beer aside and put it like the beer he wouldn't drink, like the dregs or the bottle, put them in a bucket and drink that at some point. And he had a bucket in the background there was mold growing on it because on the fucking beer. And that was like a YouTube content violation. He got kicked out of YouTube. I mean, it wasn't his first, that was like his third strike. He got kicked off. So there are these kind of YouTubers, which I don't watch, but like, that's apparently a thing. Now, the weird thing is all those other guys, even though they brand themselves as like being total dumb and you know, dumb idiots, basically, they actually have rapport with their community. They have actual people who like to watch this kind of stuff, and they are in a dialogue with them, right? Drachenlord's problem is that he, whenever anybody just minimally criticizes him, or used to be back in the day, now it's just trolling, right? But there were people legitimate said, well, you could change like this a little bit in your videos and you'd be better videos. He would just immediately ban them, which is why people start turning up at his house, because he would just ban them off the internet. So, you know, he has no rapport with his community. It's just trolling and counter-trolling. And so why it's probably technically bullying what some of these people do. And a lot of this is horrible, right? They threw stuff at his house and all this kind of stuff. And they broke into his house, and it's like it's like, you know, people legitimately perpetrated crime on this guy, the crimes, and have gone to jail. Like, there's people in jail because they did shit to Drachenlord. One of the guys who did the first squatting, I talked about that on the first episode. But it's also on both sides, right? The problem is also he's very emotional. So in the beginning, people were just like. Now he's sold his house. I'm going to get into that in a second. But when he still had his house, it would be like, you know, he would be in the beginning, he could have stopped it, right? People came to his house, yelled outside, and then he came out and yelled at them. And that's what people wanted to see. If he hadn't done that, if he just stayed inside and been quiet, people would have gone, and people would have stopped turning up to his house. But because on the internet you saw videos of whenever you go to his house and yelled at his house, he would come out and yell back. So you could always do that. So people would keep on doing that. And then the whole situation developed to a point where, like, even if he wouldn't come out, they'd just throw stuff at his house, right? Or destroy stuff, or throw fireworks into his yard or whatever. So at some point, it reached a point where people were like, he's coming out for everybody else. Now he's now trying to stay in. I'm going to try to egg him on, and you know. But before that, he could have legitimately stopped the whole thing, I think, if he'd just not come out of his house. But he had to do that. Like, he came out, yelled at everybody, really insulted them, like, really badly. Like, I mean, there were people just at his house, and they didn't insult him. They were just annoying him, right? They're just yelling, Heavinklar, come out, you know, we're gonna talk to you. And he'd just come out and go, yeah, you fucking motherfuckers, pieces of shit, you fucking sons of bitches, whore sons. Like, literally, he would just like shout and just go off on them. And people are just like, he's just easily triggered, right? This is why people troll him, and that's why they don't let off. He's easily triggered. But then he started making money off that. And now it's a thing where he also has to keep it going. Otherwise, he's not making any money. He's not going to get a job if you at this point, if he got off YouTube. Like, years ago, he could have just gotten off YouTube and resume working. I mean, he had jobs before, But now he's like, I don't know what, he weighs like between 200 and 250 kilograms. He just can barely walk, right? But we live in a social welfare state, right? He could have just gotten unemployment money. We have basically basic income now that he could have just gotten, but he didn't want to, and so. Well, that's okay. That's another point I'm going to get into. One thing I also want to talk about in the first episode, I talked about this. I had like this this understanding maybe that there's this very famous video where he, apparently somebody rang his sister with a computer voice and threatened her. Now, we don't know if that were actually his haters. To this day, that is not known. Anyway, he recorded a video saying, "This is my address. Stop harassing my family. Come to me," right? And I said that started everything. The funny thing is, if you do research into that, I did a lot more research in the last month, you figure out that actually wasn't the start. So we recorded this video where he said, "Anybody has a problem with me, this is my address. Come here. I'm gonna beat you up." Right? I played that on the previous episode there, on this topic. But actually, when he did that, it took about a year for the first person to turn up at his house. So that went completely unnoticed. He had like 50 subscribers at the time. And even so, he hit some forum discovered him at some point, right? And then people started really bullying him because they were like, "Oh, this is well." At first, they would just write comments on his YouTube channel, like, "Stop doing these videos. You're really embarrassing yourself." And he would just like act out. Then he would record a video and tell these people to go fuck themselves. So that's how it all started. But like for about a year after that video, people didn't turn up, and like he deleted that video at some point. But you can never delete everything off the internet, so it turned back up again. And years later, they only started to turn up. Now the thing is, even when they started to turn up, about a year after the video, the first people weren't really doing anything. They just wanted to talk to him, really. Like for in that year afterwards, he invited some of these people. He invited in. Like he did some barbecuing with some of them. He actually had a party where some people who were actually in the hater community, he invited them to his house and had a party with them. So for a while, this was all very civil, and he didn't have that many subscribers and stuff. What happened? So that was like in 2015, right, when the people started turning up. I think in the beginning of 2015, he did that video, and then, or it might have even been 2014, but like 2015's things really didn't take off. There were people turning up, but they were just basically, at that point you could have even said they were probably fans. If you just not treated them that shittily, they could have become fans of us. Because the other YouTubers like Axel and stuff like that are basically the same toxic, dumb personality. They have people who just like to hang out with them, right? And they're okay with their fans largely. But anyway, so that didn't happen for him because he just told everybody off and yelled at them. But still, it was all relatively civil. And then in 2016 came a time when he actually his loans, he was so in a race with his loans that he was owing his power company about 10,000 euros. And that even in Germany, that's the point where they cut your power off. They warn you, they write you letters for about a year. I think they wrote him letters for about a year, which he apparently ignored. He says he never got any, but yeah. And then they turned his power off, and he didn't have any power. And he needed money. So what he did is he actually had some posters printed, and he actually did a thing where he invited people to his place. And you could buy posters that he would sign, and there are lots of videos and photos of that. And, it was in the summer, he was sitting there, people turned up, they were like, there's a video which like encapsulates this. Obviously it gets deleted off the internet again and again and again because it was illegally recorded, but it encapsulates this whole situation very good. So there's about, I don't know, I would say 20 people in front of his gate. He's in the yard. They're all in front of his gate, and they're like buying posters. And they're most of them are haters and they're kind of trolling him, but they kind of want this posters and he's making money of that, right? And he's invited everybody there. So the situation's all calm, everything's good. And then at some point, one of the guys climbs over his fence, or somebody turns up in his yard. So they've invaded his home, which makes sense, you'd get angry. But he gets like really angry at that, and then he calls the police. And this video is basically with the people in front of his gate, and the police turns up, and then he's in an argument with the police. He's like, you gotta arrest these people. And the police officer goes to him and says, dude, you're like, he doesn't say even Indian, he's a police officer. He's very respectful, but he says like, this is like a clown show, because you can't invite people to your house and then call the police and ask us to arrest them for trespassing. He's like, yeah, but those people, it's different if they're in front of the gate and behind the gate. But he's like, these people are in front of the gate. We can't arrest those, right? So he's got like this really weird relationship with the people he's actually invited there. And this is when it really all started kicking off. Like when he again posted his address, again, to have people come there to buy posters. And he actually made money with that. And I think he made enough money at some point to pay some of his debts back and actually get power again. And this is when people started showing up again, right? Because he treated people weirdly there. And that was the moment when this whole we go to his house and yell at him and throw stuff at him. That's when it started. So it didn't originally start with this original video like everybody reports. So I wanted to make that clear, because that's an important distinction, I feel. And it kind of encapsulates how this guy basically cultivated this community. And the problem is, okay, for a while there, he got more subscribers and everything, but he wasn't making money. I think he started making legitimate money off YouTube around 2019. And like in November, when I talked about this, after November, I mean, in January, he broke like 200,000 subscribers. And he, for a while, I mean, he says he still does it now, but we don't know. I'll get into that in a little bit. But he's making about 5,000 to 10,000 euros a month of YouTube, right? Of the streaming and of everything. And this whole problem stems from the fact that he wants to be a YouTuber. He wants that to be his job, which, is fair. It's just his family said, it's not going to take off. You're destroying your life. We're going to leave. Like his sister and his mother left this house because of that. And, then he got, we talked about this. I started this whole topic because of the court case, right? And he got convicted, and they said, the only reason why we put you on probation and we're not putting you in jail is so you need to change your life. You need to get rid of your YouTube channel. And he said, I can't do that. And that's why he is actually, probably going to go to jail at the end of the month. But we'll get into that later. But like the problem is he wants to be a YouTuber. He wants that to be his job, which is all right. And I'm totally okay with, he can say whatever he wants in this video, right? And I'm not condoning anybody doing anything illegal at all. But I mean, it's just the fact that if you're a YouTuber, part of your job is dealing with your community, right? And you have to deal with negative as well as positive comments. And also very negative comments, like what a lot of people these days call hate, which I don't think is hate, because, hate is a strong word, right? Hate, I think, for me, I'm old school. I use the definitions of words that I learned in school, which was about, 30 years ago. For me to hate somebody, you really want to kill them. That's what, or close to that. That's what hate means to me. So I don't think a lot of this stuff is hate, really. But the definition doesn't really matter that much. But so the issue he has is he he has this community and he has this whole ecosystem that he's created for himself, and he can't get out of that. And that's okay, but like, well, he could get out of that. He could stop being a YouTuber, but he says, my job is to be a YouTuber, and I respect that, right? But like, that's part of your job. Part of your job is, as a YouTuber, you need to more or less do what your community does. It doesn't mean your community, like, you know, if you're a streamer, right, you can play whatever game you want to play. If you stream on YouTube or whatever, if you're a game streamer, and if he says, I'm doing metal videos, then you can do whatever you want, right? But like, at the end of the day, you know, any day you start your stream or your video, you can do whatever topic you want. But at the end of the day, you're beholden to your community, right? If you want to be successful, you gotta, to a certain extent, do what your community likes, what your community wants you to do. And you gotta listen to them. You don't have to listen to all of them all the time. You can ignore them if you want. But generally, if you want to be successful, right, if you cut your teeth as a Minecraft streamer and that's your thing, and you rise to success, and then suddenly you don't like Minecraft anymore, and your community says, but we're watching you because of your Minecraft content. I mean, you can go and say, okay, no, I'm going to diversify it, I'm going to do some other content, but at the end of the day, you're beholden to your community who gives you your money. And you're going to listen to negative comments as well. Not to all of them, right? Not to single people, but like in aggregate maybe. And I know this because I'm a journalist, and it's the same thing. If you want to be a journalist, you have the privilege generally to write for a large audience, which is a privilege and which is part of the job, and that is nice. That's why people want to be journalists. You know, it pumps up your ego. Right, so this is why I never trust any journalist who says they don't have a significant ego, because that's why you do the job. It's not because it's paid that well. You get something out of that. It's like if you're a firefighter, you know that you're doing something good. You have a legitimate job. If you're a firefighter or you're a doctor, you have a job that legitimately helps. It's like selfless. It helps the community. Right? You're not working at a bank, you're not working at an insurance company, you do something, and you're not working at an advertising agency, you actually do something good for the community. And you get a satisfaction from that. And the same with journalism, like you get your ego satisfaction because you're actually widely read. Now, but that comes with a downside. That comes with people going, you're an idiot, you shouldn't write this, right? Right now on Twitter, I post, so in the show notes, Private Citizen Press, I have like some maps later. When we talk about what Rainer is up to now, got some maps about what he's up to now. And I posted those on Twitter because I think they're interesting, you know, good information for people. And people are going like, why are you doing this? You're an idiot, you shouldn't like chase after people, whatever. And I guess I have to live with that because I'm a journalist. That's the downside. If you have a large audience, there are people who will not like what you do. They will severely criticize you, sometimes quite, in an ad hominem way. They will try to get you fired. They will try to get you canceled. That is just what happens. And, that's why I don't like journalists who complain about that so much. They'll hate poetry. Oh, people are just, they're calling me names because I'm a woman and I'm a journalist. Yeah, but that's not because you're a woman. It's because people try to attack you. Like, when I was at Heise and there was a photo next to my columns, they would just attack me because I have a beard. And they're like, this guy never had sex in his life. Look at that nerd. Like, they're just trying to attack you at, something. But anyway, that's part of the job. That's part of the job. Right? When you're on primetime TV, when you're hosting the late night show, there'll be hundreds of thousands of people who don't like that. They don't like you. They don't like your face. They don't like the way you talk. That's how it is. And if you're a YouTuber, there is downsides with that. And generally, the upsides outweigh the downsides. The problem for this dude is that just because of the way he treats his community, he basically only has downsides from his YouTuber life. The only upside is he gets money, and because he doesn't really want to have another job. that money is really important to him. And maybe his ego, I don't know, maybe that's also why he wants, probably it is. But what he just doesn't understand is that this hate, in air quotes, and all this bullying is just a result of his job that he really wants to do. And he just does it shitty. He's just like watch his videos. I can only say watch his videos. He can't do audio, he can't do video, he doesn't know how to hold a camera. Like, he does an unboxing and shows his face the whole time. He shows you the product he's unboxing once in a 40-minute unboxing video. It's ridiculous. The guy is a shitty YouTuber, objectively. You know, which is okay. You can be that. That's okay. You know, people can say I'm a shitty podcaster. That's all right. But like, you'll have to live with that if people say that. And this, hey, like I was thinking about a comparison I could draw here that would explain this. And it's not the best one. And it has its flaws, but let's look at it this way. Why? Okay, imagine he's a plumber, right? The downside to this example is that in Germany, to be a plumber, for example, you need a license. You need there's a training. You do 2 years of training, and then you're allowed to, be a plumber. Let's imagine that's not that way. I don't know how it is in the US, but I imagine in countries like the US, you can just be a plumber if you want to be. So imagine the guy decided, I want to be a plumber. And he never really learned the trade, and he's shit at it. So he's really cheap. You ring him up, he comes to your house, you're like, Rainer, my toilet is clogged. Please unclog my toilet, right? He says, no problem, I'm going to do this. He goes in there. 2 hours later, your toilet is still clogged, and now there's shit coming out of all your faucets. There's the pipe in the wall burst. There's shit coming out of the walls. Everything goes to shit. You'd be like, what the fuck? Dude, you're a shitty plumber. And you might even say, I fucking hate you now. You destroyed my house. You fucking idiot. And now imagine he keeps doing that. People keep telling me, you shouldn't be a plumber. You don't know what you're doing. You make everything worse. And he just keeps doing it for 10 years. Just imagine that would happen. And he would just ignore that he just loses money and just keeps running this business into the ground. Right? People would fucking protest against this guy as well. They're like, there'll be websites. Don't use this guy's services because he's shit. Right? And that's kind of like what he's doing, except he's a YouTuber and he's a really shitty YouTuber. And, he always has the argument, you don't have to watch my videos. He always says, there's the X button, close the window. Which is true, right? I'm not saying he's wrong about making his videos. I'm not saying he shouldn't make his videos. I'm not saying he shouldn't have the right to free speech. He can say whatever he wants, I think. I think, yes, people could just turn this video off. But you're a YouTuber. You make these videos for people to see them. So you can't complain if people do. And then they go like, this is shit. Well, you can, but that's idiotic, right? You can't just, against all odds, and anything anybody tells you, stubbornly, decide that you want to do this job that you're really shit at for 10 years, and then just wonder that people just go mad. That's not to say they should throw stuff at his house. Obviously they shouldn't. But hey, that's how reality works, right? That is just how people are. And the problem is that he's not only doing this, that he's doing his job shitty. No, he's so when he started, he legitimately had some content. He was he printed out Wikipedia pages on metal albums and then read them really badly because the guy can't fucking read. But I mean, that was even content. If you watch his videos now, all of his content is just him and the haters and his fight against bullying. So all of his content is the hater community. It's his community. This toxic community is his whole content. And it's not only him complaining that this community is so bad. It's legit going, him going, you are shit. And he does stuff like this. Okay, so I was watching one of his videos. This is after I researched the first episode. I'm it's November or December. And I'm watching one of his streams, right? And he goes, there are people outside right now throwing eggs at my house. There are such idiots. They're so dumb. I mean, I'm a special school boy, and they're dumber than me. They're supposed to be students, but they're dumber than me because they don't know how to throw eggs at a house. And he did this unironically. He said, if anybody knows you don't throw fresh eggs, you put the eggs in the fridge, out of the fridge for a week or two until they go bad, and then you throw them at the house. So this guy was in a stream where people were throwing eggs at his fucking house, and he goes, "You're not doing it right. They're not stinky eggs." I mean, you just have to let that sink in. Like how ridiculous that is. I wouldn't even say it's stupid because it's not he is dumb, but he's not that dumb. It's like he kind of, it's like his love-hate relationship. He needs the content. He needs that. He needs to act the people on so more people show up so he can make videos, which he makes a lot of money. Well, a lot of money. He makes money off that. Yeah, so I just wanted to go before we now talk about what's going on now with him. I wanted to clarify that a little bit more because I think I was giving him a bit more benefit of the doubt in the first episode than I should have. Like now watching more of his videos, it's clear that his whole content is just like egging on the haters. He likes doing it. Or he does it. He continuously does it. He keeps saying stupid things. He lies. We're gonna get to that a little bit later. But he lies. He gets caught in it. He keeps lying. People catch him in chat, and he goes like, "You fucking idiots! You don't know what I'm doing. I'm right." Even though he's just proven himself that he's wrong. It's completely ridiculous. So I mean, that is not to justify what people are doing to him. I'm just saying that if you are bullied and you're a victim of bullying, you do not do these things. And I know this personally, right? The only thing you want to do is leave the people alone. And like if your life's passion is to have a YouTube account, you'd go on with your YouTube account for a bit, and then the bullying gets worse and worse and worse, and you'd stop. Like unless you're a masochistic dumbass, you wouldn't you'd stop, right? You'd stop. I mean, I was bullied in school so much. I loved like learning things in school, but if they had said like, you don't have to go to school anymore, I was intelligent enough and I was old enough at the time that I knew that I needed to go to school if I wanted to learn stuff and I wanted to be intelligent. But if they had said, you don't have to go to school anymore, I wouldn't have gone to school, even though I wanted to, and I liked school just to escape the bullying. I would have done almost anything. I would have moved to another country. Like even if my parents weren't there, like it was really bad. So he's just not doing that. So why, the methods are sometimes the same and they are not excusable. You can't just say this guy's bullied. And he's doing the perverse thing is that people are saying like he's a hero because he's fighting bullying. No, he's actually creating bullying and he knows it, right? Because he makes money of it. So it's not, it's exactly not that, right? So the column that Sasha Lobo wrote was like he's talking about martyrium and he's like a martyr and whatever. It's like completely bullshit because this guy is doing it on purpose, right? A martyr is not saying like, martyr's not trying to get killed on, well, I don't know, maybe that's a bad analogy. Some of them are these days, the fucking terrorists, bombers. But I don't know. But like it's just not bullying in that way, and it's like actually an insult to anybody who was actually bullied, who was in a situation where they couldn't get out. To compare that with this guy who not anymore, but for years he was in a situation he could have gotten out of, but just for a little bit of money and attention he didn't. Right? That's kind of an insult if you were actually bullied, and it's actually making me mad. And it's making me mad at the people at Twitter who go like, "Oh, you need to leave this guy alone." No. I'm doing this episode out of purpose. I think this is something people need to know about, because it's a very, very important example of what not to do. And also behavior, I'm also talking about this because, I'm interested in free speech and, the hate speech thing. And this is actually very much a point where we specifically don't need any laws, and we shouldn't have any laws to prevent what's happening to him, right? If we now overreact and we create laws, if the German state creates laws because they're like, oh, look at how this guy is being hounded and shit, then we're doing a very, very bad thing, because his situation is not a situation a normal person, any normal citizen of this country would ever get into. Any other person at some point would go, this is ridiculous. What am I doing with my life? I need to stop this, right? So we can't create laws for people like this, right? Because they're gonna affect hundreds of thousands of other people, which should be affected by this, to protect one guy who should probably, at least be in psychiatric care. Like, I don't know, you shouldn't look him up probably, but they should he needs help. The guy needs professional help. Right? And we can't, as a state, just create laws for people like this. It's as if, I don't know. I guess, don't some people? There's like a condition where you are you're afraid of other people for no reason, right? It's not justified, but you're like, you can't deal with society and you can't go out because you're just afraid of people, because you have because this is a condition. I forgot what it's called, but there are people like that, and these people need medical help, right? We don't need to change the laws of the land so that you're not allowed to talk to other people anymore because they could have this condition. You know what I mean? Or it's like if you have people who have, kids who have mental issues, right? You have ADHD or Asperger's, right? You need to if you have those kids in school, you need to solve that issue for that kid medically, right? You need to figure out, you need to help the person individually. It wouldn't be good to change the whole school system so that people with autism are more, maybe they need to be more protected, but you know what I mean, right? So that it's the perfect school system for them, because they're 5% of the people going to school, right? You'd be fucking over the 95 other percent. So we can't do this. This is not something we should do. This is why this is an important topic and needs to be reported on. That's why those people on Twitter are going you need to leave that guy. No. First of all, I don't need to leave a guy alone who spent 10 years recording YouTube videos, antagonizing the whole country. This is why he has so many. It's why his hater community is so big, because he fucking antagonizes everybody. And if you do that as successfully as this guy, you become he's basically a celebrity, for lack of a better term. I think legally he would be. I think he doesn't have the same personality rights. That they are, just like famous people, right? Where the newspapers can go, you're a person of interest to the public, we can actually take a picture of you on the street. Whereas if that was just a random person, they wouldn't be allowed to do that. And it's the same with him. He chose this life. He chose this lifestyle. He wanted to be a famous YouTuber. And now there are consequences that come with this, and he will have to, accept those, I think. But anyway, let's move on here. Let's talk about what has happened since I've recorded the last episode on this. And actually, I'm going to have to fix this in post, because I really need to take my hoodie off, because I'm really hot. Well, I'm warm. I don't want you to misunderstand it. Also, my back's fucked for some reason. Did I just throw that somewhere where you can see it? No, that's all right. Can't see that. That's good. I'm gonna put it on there. I'm gonna do this properly. Anyway. Also, you can tell why I didn't want to do a podcast for a while. My voice is gonna is dying. Anyway, that never happened. Let's move on. So with all of that out of the way, let's talk about what's happened to him since I've recorded the last episode. So, as you will remember, he had that court case, which he appealed, and actually the state prosecutor also appealed. But since that time, he's actually sold his house and is now actually moved out. So what he did is he actually sold his, and this is amazing. I mean, people are like, nobody in the country cares for this guy. He's just being left alone, which is complete bullshit, because something happened to him that would never happen to just like a normal person, right? So he sold his house to the the town council where he lives, right? That small, like, he lives in this like 40 people hamlet, but like the county, the next bigger town, Emskirchen, they bought his house. And reportedly, they bought his house for about 70,000 euros. I mean, that house would like, and it has got a house. There were other buildings. We talked about this on that episode, but like, that would be worth a lot more. But it's like fucking destroyed, right? They actually are demolishing it right now. So it's like they just bought it from him to like out of goodwill, basically, and out of goodwill for the neighbors, because they wanted him to really move out. And they actually were looking for a new flat for him, but he didn't. Apparently, I don't know. It looks like he wasn't very interested in that, and that never went anywhere. Because of course, anybody who rents a flat to him knows that people will show up. So his plan was, he took the 70,000. He paid off his debts, which were about 36,000, if my research is correct. He bought, there were 26,000. I think that was his main debt. He immediately bought he said this before he was going to do that, but he actually did. He bought a Ford Ranger pickup for about 40,000 euros. And then spent the rest of the money on a state-of-the-art graphics card. I think the same one that I've just bought and bankrupted myself with. And a VR headset. And then he bought a tablet and a gaming laptop. And he did that because he was going to move. He left his house at the beginning of this month, at the beginning of March. He actually moved out. And he now lives in his Ford pickup and drives around the country, which is just ridiculous. It is like really, really weird. Very weird that he bought that graphics card and his VR headset, which he never really used, maybe for a week. And then he took everything that was still in his house and put it like in storage, including his gaming PC with the new graphics card. And he said, "I'm now living on the road." That's actually the thing he said in the court proceedings, right? That was his big plan, where everybody said that's idiotic. But yeah, he's doing that now, because in his thinking, he had a deal with like the prosecutor and everybody and the judge to go like, if I move out and if I'm mobile, then these people can't find me and they can't annoy the neighbors. Where I think the actual deal, we know that the original deal for him was to reduce YouTube, which he never did, to get probation in the first time. And now apparently they said, in this court case, which we talked about last time, they said, well, we're going to give you probation again, although that is actually not done normally twice for the same offense. But we're going to do that if you just shut down your YouTube channel. And that's another time when he just didn't do that, right? He just didn't want that. And this is why it looks likely that he's going to be convicted when this is retried. I think, when was this? think his trial's on the 23rd. They're going to completely retry that at a higher court. Which is weird. So he went on the road and he said, I'm going to do a Germany tour. And this is where the map comes in that, go to private citizen press. It's in there. He's bought this performance blue Ford Ranger, which is a very, very, very obvious car, right? Because there are not that many of that model in Germany. There are not many people ride pickups, right? So you see a blue Ford Ranger, everybody's like, oh, is this the Drachenlord? Of course, he did post before he left. He did a thing of his car, whatever, and he basically videoed his own license plate, so people know his license plate. It's also just his initials. And then he went on the road, and this hider community, the toxic community, is now calling this the biggest Schnitzeljagd ever. Schnitzeljagd is German term for scavenger hunt, like the kids game, right? So he left his home, and the first day he drove to Frankfurt, and like he was saying he had planned this, but he did something very, very dumb. So he was like, okay, they're not gonna find me. No, I'm mobile, right? So he went to the Motel 1, Frankfurt Airport, parked his car outside because they don't have a garage. And went in there, and he rented a room for 3 days, and it took about 3 hours or whatever for the haters to find his car, because he's at Frankfurt Airport. There's a lot of people there, and they found his car, posted a picture on Twitter, and then people started ringing the hotel and annoying the hotel staff, and then they said, you should better leave, and then he left, and he paid the hotel for like 3 days, and then he left, and then he went somewhere else, and he slept in his car. And he's been doing that ever since. He's been in some hotels, apparently. He's been sleeping in his car a lot. He's been actually talking about that. At first, he just stayed around Franconia, where he lives. He did drove around a little bit. He does streams now from his car while driving, like on the highway. Not quite sure that's legal, but he also did some videos. But he largely stayed in Franconia at first, and people just been taking pictures. And there's this myth on Twitter by it's the same thing. We talked about this before. There are the worst people on the internet are people that are well-meaning, but that I have no idea what they're talking about. And there are a lot of these people surrounding this case, where they are well-meaning, they're well-meaning towards the guy, but they just don't know anything I've told you in the last hour, right? They don't know what his community is like. They don't know that he can't do videos for shit, and that he just needs the hate to sustain him now because they're paying his bills. And he's driving around in a car. A few weeks ago, a liter of diesel in Germany cost about €1.50. It's now up to €2.30 because of course of the Ukraine thing. And so this is like the worst time. Like he's just blowing money as well, but but people don't understand that, and they don't understand. They think this is a hunt, right? But people are not hunting. He also says that in his video. He thinks there's like troops of people just trying to figure out where he is, and then just waiting for him on the autobahn, on parking spots, and driving along the autobahn trying to find him. But like, really, that is completely wrong. That's not what's happening. What's happening is he's known. He's infamous. He's been doing this for 10 years. A certain group of people knows him, and there's just haters everywhere. And they're just, I don't know, he went to northern Germany, right? There's a guy who's just driving to work, and he's like, oh, there's a blue pickup. Let me look at the license plate. Oh, it's Rainer's car. And then they take a picture, or they like follow him for a little bit in the car, film a video, whatever. But like, there's no people just following throughout Germany, right? There's no people hunting him down. He's just obvious. He's a very obvious guy. Like, he's a 200 kilogram plus dude in a very obvious car with a license plate that anybody who knows about this topic knows what his license plate is. So people just know. So after staying in Franconia for a while, he was obviously found several places. He then drove up to northern Germany because he went to see the sea. He went to basically Bremen and then to Bremerhaven to the sea, and then drove back down. And then in the previous, like on last week, last week he went down to the Bodensee, Lake Constance. Lake Constance down there at the southern border of Germany. He went down there, and he's been filming that. Apparently yesterday he drove to Italy, and then he was found in Italy and followed there, and now he's on the way back to Germany apparently. Don't know about that, but like the things I have in the map is I'm reasonably sure. I've been following some stuff on Twitter, and this is all just like publicly available information, right? This is stuff people post on Twitter, but largely it's from his videos. It's just like he posts a video on the Autobahn or stream, and people just analyze where he is. They figure out what highway he's on. They see like the signs, right? And there's people just doing like Bellingcat style analysis of his videos, figuring out where he is. And I just don't understand why people go like, oh, you can't post that map because I'm not tracking him, right? This is not real-time information. It's just like 4 days ago he was here. I don't see how that is bad, right? If some major German celebrity said, oh, I'm quitting all this, I'm selling all my stuff, I'm living in my car and riding around Germany, and then does videos where he insults people, he'd be in the news the same way, right? And Drachenlord is just like a modern version of a celebrity. I think it's just just like the mainstream news media and people who just follow that don't understand it, because he's not a celebrity to them, but he's a celebrity to, like, I don't know, 20-year-old internet meme dudes, right? So it's just the same thing. It's just a different audience, and he keeps egging people on, right? So the thing he did previously was like, you don't even know how to throw X correctly. He's literally driving around and he's like, oh yeah, yesterday they thought that I was there and I wasn't. These people are idiots. They are not able to find me, right? He actually goes like, you are too dumb to like figure out where I am. And that's, of course, people just, that just gets people more and more energized to find where he is. And he does like really stupid things. So he went to this Motel 1 on the first evening in Frankfurt, and he checked in and he got his hotel room. He recorded a YouTube video. He recorded a vlog, and he was like, this is so nice. I'm now in a hotel. I'm now out of my house. The haters were not going to find me again. They're idiots. They will never find me, right? And finished that video, and like 2 hours later, they did find him and chased him out of his hotel. And like 2 days later, he uploads that video to YouTube when everybody knows he's been found, right? So he's basically declaring how dumb he is with doing this kind of shit, but he has to, because he needs that video content. And he doesn't know how to do videos. He doesn't know how to do what about. He needs to do about the haters. So he actually has uploaded on the strip several times videos that were completely outdated and completely showed how dumb he was, just because he uploads them and then people laugh about them and he gets clicks and he gets money for it. And he needs the money because petrol is really expensive right now in Germany. And I mean, he's living in hotels. He's just eating in subways or whatever, like restaurants. He needs money, a lot of money. So he did another video where actually he was, he had been to Bremen, or Bremerhaven, and he was on his way south, and he recorded the video in his car driving, saying that over that weekend when he was actually in Bremen, I'm mixing this up. Sorry. It's so it's like his fucking lies are so many lies, so complicated. It's even hard to keep. No, it was different. He was actually driving to Bremen. He was driving north, right, from Bavaria, where he is, basically Franconia, Bavaria, the south of Germany, center of Germany. He was driving up north to Bremen, recording a video saying that on the weekend before, he actually was north. He was in Hamburg, and he was now driving home. So he was driving north, and he did a video where he said, I actually am north, and I'm driving south. Right? And then in this video was going on, now it was in Hamburg, and he basically insinuated that he got a prostitute, because Hamburg famous for the Reeperbahn and everything. And he said he literally said he had a very nice night in his hotel room, wink, wink, basically. But he was lying. And he actually, in the video, he several times, he just like can't keep his lie straight, pretty much as I did earlier there. He just can't keep his own lie straight. And he's just like basically, fucking it up. Also, in the background, you see like signs that people who analyze the video. It's obvious that he's driving south. He's driving north instead of south. I can't keep this fucking stuff straight. So it's obvious that he's lying. And then he also uploaded this video a few days late. And he was actually seen afterwards. So when he was supposed to be in the south, he was actually seen in Bremerhaven. So people saw him in the zoo. So they knew he was lying. And before that, they saw that he was in the south when he was supposed to be in Hamburg. So they knew that he wasn't in Hamburg. But then days later, he uploads this video, basically after the fact, where everybody knows he's lied, and he's actually in the video can't keep it straight. He's like fucking it up, and he just uploads it completely like, egg on his face, like completely just absolutely destroying his reputation if he had one before. But like, he's always going on about he doesn't lie, but like he of course he does, because and it's just so hilarious. I mean, it's not hilarious, it's actually sad. I mean, the only reason he did that, basically proved himself to be a fucking liar, is because he needed the fucking money for the video anyway, right? At the point where he uploaded it, he knew it was disproven, but because he needs the money anyway, he just needs to upload it. It's just so fucking sad, right? And so the people are going, he's being hunted. He's not being hunted, he's just being seen. And yes, people upload his photos to the internet, which you're not allowed to do. Infringes his privacy. You can't, if I saw him here and I uploaded this on Twitter, that wouldn't be, that I would be infringing on his privacy, right? 2 days later, I can go, the other day I saw Drachenlord in Düsseldorf. That's okay. Or me doing a map now and saying, on that date, he was probably here. Because somebody on Twitter posted that. And it's not like me posting that video, right? Or that photo, right? But it's not illegal for me to go, hey, I've seen this photo, so probably he was there. I mean, it would be different if he is just like just some person. But he's obviously a person out, in the news. So that's even a problem. And then people are like, yeah, but maybe it's not illegal, but you shouldn't do this. I think one should. Because, I mean, if this guy was just being followed by this toxic community, and he really was innocent, like he it wasn't his fault that this is happening, I would never do anything like this. And I would never talk about this on my podcast, right? But he's not. He's actually built, it's an example for a content creator who's built a community based on destroying his own life and then complaining about that. And we need to shine a light on this and show people how stupid it is. And because the news isn't doing it, because the news doesn't understand the situation, they're just like, oh, it's a pure YouTuber. He's a bit dumb. Now he's being bullied. No. This is a guy who is on purpose. He's built himself a community and a world and a situation where he needs to be bullied to get money, right? And if anybody wants to do anything about that, or like the state, we need to get him out, like somebody needs to tell him to shut his fucking YouTube channel down. I realize that's what his haters want, and I'm like the last guy. I'm a very stubborn guy, and I have lots of people in the past because, you know, I like to polarize, and I often have opinions that go 90 degrees from other people's opinions, and, you know, people tell me to stop doing things, and I would never do that because I'm also very stubborn. So I usually support anybody who's like, no, fuck the haters, I'm doing this. But everything has limits, right? And Drachenlord is definitely far over the limit. This guy needs to stop for his own good, for his community's good, you know, for his whatever, mental health, for everything, for all our well-being. He needs to fucking stop. And we need, as a state, we need to recognize, or as people, as private citizens, we need to recognize that there are different, you know, there are nuances to everything. It's not only hate speech and bullying. There's also the other side. Apparently, I've learned this. I didn't know this before. Apparently, there's the other side where there's people who want to be bullied, who we need to stop. We need to stop being like, we need to, I don't know. I would never say the state needs to take his YouTube channel away, but somebody needs to sit that guy down and talk. I mean, he's in front of a judge in 2 weeks. Like, somebody needs to sit him down and say, dude, you're not understanding this. You are here because you hurt somebody, because you've built this community. And yes, what they're doing to you is in some cases illegal, and, you know, the state needs to do something against that. But what you are also doing, you know, you did something, you committed a crime here, but also you're I don't know, you're not the victim here. I mean, he's a victim in some respects, but generally he is like, right, somebody who's that insistent on being a victim shouldn't be able to claim victim status, right? He's basically like a guy who goes somewhere where there's criminals and tries to find the most ruthless person you can find and says, you know, gives them a gun. Here's a loaded gun. Please shoot me. You know, please shoot me in the leg or whatever. Just shoot me. Just shoot me. Here's a gun. Shoot me. And the guy goes, well, I'm a criminal, but I'm not just shooting you. This is silly. And then he starts like insulting him, right? And, you motherfucker, shoot me now. Your mother is a fucking cunt. Shoot me, shoot me, shoot me, shoot me. Right? Oh, I'm bumping into things. That's basically what's going on here, right? If you do that, you can't just go, oh, I just been shot. I'm such a victim. I'm not just been shot. People are randomly just shoot me because they hate me. You can't do that. And actually, you know, that's why I want to shine a light on this, because nobody else is doing this. And, you know, it's a very interesting topic. I mean, this whole situation of, I mean, just what other country has a YouTuber like that? Like what? Like, it's like you're in your house and people are fucking have destroyed your house. It's been now 10 years and people have just like for 5 of those or 6, they've turned up, yelled at you, thrown shit at your house, destroyed everything. And despite everything, like they're buying your house, right? The council says, we're going to give you 70,000 euros. And you're in serious danger of going to jail in a month, right? What do? You buy a blue pickup truck, and then you just go on an unplanned tour throughout Germany where like nothing works and you don't know where you're going and you don't know where anything is because you've never been out of your fucking little hamlet you've lived in for like 32 years. And then the petrol prices are just rising and you're just on the highway filming yourself while you're driving and you're like, everybody hates me and I just slept in my car. I mean, who else is destroying his life for a YouTube career this much? I mean, this is the other thing. It's like, people, why don't people keep that guy alone? Like, leave that guy alone. Why do you think? Like, because it's very, very interesting. This is like a singular situation. So what's going to happen? I don't know. I'm probably going to do an update at some point. I don't know if I do a whole episode, but obviously in 2 weeks, there is this trial is going to be retried, and from rumors and things he says himself, I think he's got an offer. He had an offer where they're like, we're not going to put you in jail. We're going to put you on probation the second time, which never happens, if you shut down your YouTube channel. And he's saying no. So if that persists, if that's all true, then he's going to jail. Basically, he won't go to jail at the end of March because, so in Germany it works like this. You get at a lower court, you get a court case, and then you can have a retrial, right? You're not under all circumstances, but generally, your lawyer can say, we want to retry this before a higher court, which is what's happening to him in 2 weeks. So the first decision then is annulled, and there's going to be new decision from new court with new judge. Don't do juries in Germany. And that's going to be final. What you can then do is you can do a last thing, which is called a revision. And a revision is actually not a retrial. They're going to just look at a judge, I think a separate judge, I think from that same court, but I'm not quite sure, looks at the court decision and sees if everything was like in order, right? If everything was, if nobody made a grave error in the process, and that can actually last a few weeks or maybe even a month or two. But this court decision is going to be final, even if they get a revision. And the revision can overturn it, and then they have to retry it, I think, again. But generally, if they don't make a mistake in the proceedings, then that's not going to happen. And then if they decide he's going to go to jail, he will go to jail. He can then appeal, I think, either to the Constitutional Court. I think in this case, it was always because I think this is a criminal case, so he would have to appeal to the Constitutional Court. Otherwise, there's also the Bundesgerichtshof. That's the civil, highest civil court. But I think I'm not a lawyer, obviously. Surprise. But I think this would mean he would go to, like, if let's say he gets convicted and has to go to jail, and the revision is overturned. Then he would go to jail, and then he could appeal to the Constitutional Court. Maybe it's not clear if they would take the case, but like he could try. Sorry, I'm gonna have to blow my nose here for a second. I'm gonna fix that in post. But they could try, but he would have to go to jail. Right, he would be in jail, and then there'd be a Constitutional Court. But I don't think that would actually go through. So if everything we know is correct, then it's gonna be like him shutting down his YouTube channel, and then he can stay out, which would be the best thing for him, right? Then he could try to get it live again. But he will never do that. Like, it's clear that the guy would rather die than stop his YouTube channel. So I think they're going to put him in jail. Possibly for more than the 2 years he already got convicted. But we'll see. I'll definitely provide you with an update once the verdict is out. Don't know if I'm going to do a whole nother episode. But yeah, that is what's new in the life of the Drachenlord. It's pretty amazing. Like, just driving around on the highway, like he just, I mean, you basically have to watch his streams and videos to understand like how much of a toxic guy he is. Like, he's driving along just like, it's basically flaunting traffic rules and then yelling at other people because they're actually, he's actually doing something wrong, but he thinks they're doing something wrong, and it's just. And then he just does like sexist jokes, and he's like, "Oh yeah, if any young girls want to come with me on my trip," like he literally said that, like of course they have to be like, he basically said, they have to be, or then they need to have sex with me, and also they have to pay for the hotel room, right? Or at least put some money in. Like, I'm not paying the hotel room on my own. So if they want to ride with me for like a week or whatever, they're gonna have to be prepared to be fucked and then also pay for part of the hotel bill. I mean, what the fuck? Just look at the picture of the guy. It's just like, it's, you'd think it was parody, but like I've watched so many, like he's like, he means his shit. It's like, it's unbelievable. It's like, it's a very interesting combination of not very intelligent, but also very narcissistic person. Yeah. There'll be books written on this at some point. And then everybody will go, oh, remember this? When he was in the news. Yep. But that's it for the Drachenlord for now. I'll keep you updated on important developments. And let's move into the feedback section, because that's something we need to do now. So, on the forum, we had Necros coming in from Russia. So I'm just closing a water bottle. I was in danger of kicking that over. I didn't want to kick that into my PC that is now housing a almost 2,000 euros graphics card, because I finally had to splurge one. At least I'm using it. Not like somebody else. Actually, that's my new plan. I'm just bought the graphics card. Next thing is a VR headset, and I'm buying a blue Ford Ranger, and then I'm out of here. I'm gonna podcast from the Autobahn, yelling at everybody. Apparently, that's now the thing to do. But anyway, Necros coming in from Russia here. I don't know how long that's gonna last. I hope we still have internet connection to Russia forever. Like, I hope nobody's cutting anybody off, but it looks like from both sides there's things going on. We'll have to talk about that at some point. But Necros chiming in here on episode 109, which was obviously the Ukrainian episode, the last episode about the Ukraine war. He says, you made a total mess and mix-up of Russia's territory, Soviet Union, Warsaw Pact. And that's all he says about that. And please, provide a bit of correct me. What did I do wrong? I would like to tell people what I did wrong. I'm not Drachenlord. I'm not Rainer Winkler. I'm completely prepared to admit that I did something really wrong there. History lessons been a long time ago. Maybe I missed something up. Maybe the virus is in my brain. Who knows? Please let me know. Anyway, he goes on. Also, I can't help observing that while Ukraine didn't exist as a sovereign state before 1917, it did exist as a somewhat separate country that never was on its own, being part of Russia, the then Rex Pospolita that Poland is today descendant of, then Russia again, then Poland again, aligned with Sweden during the war between it and Russia, etc., etc. It is mentioned under the name Ukraine in the 17th century documents, maybe earlier, but of that period, I'm sure. Of course, this position and the tough fate of Ukraine had facilitated the development of its own particular nation with specific culture and a language closer to any Slavic language than any other one, yet definitely a separate language in its own right, not a regional dialect, as Soviet and Russian propaganda like to put it. Actually, I was thinking about that recently. I remember doing many years ago when I did linguistics. I studied English, but we did basic linguistics at first, and we were talking about languages a lot, and how the descendant. I was thinking about, we learned something about Ukrainian and this that it's closer to Slavic and like not really that much to Russia, and that obviously the Soviets always said it's like a dialect. I probably have to look into that again. It'll be like, you can't really just Google this now because there's going to be so much propaganda around that topic right now. But yeah, I wanna look into it, because the borders between what's the dialect and actual language are very it's just kind of like it's like when I talk about science for other topics, and people are like, oh yeah, this is the general perception is like, this is X, this is Y, this is like really delineated. Like in biology, people think these things are very clear, and like when we talked about races and stuff like that. Same with linguistics. Like people generally think, oh yeah, that's a language, that's a dialect. It's like a lot more gray when you actually get into the science. So yeah, that'll be an interesting topic. I don't know when I'm going to get to it, but very interesting. Of course, the Ukrainian propaganda claims of the Ukraine being the rightful descendant of Kievan Rus, and this is quite. No, of course, the Ukrainian propaganda claims of the Ukraine being the rightful descendant of Kievan Rus are quite questionable, but to be honest, so are Russia's. Moscow was initially a remote province of Kievan Rus, then after the Rus broke up, existed alongside Kiev as an ally or an enemy, depending on the current political situation, then ended up conquering all the neighbors and Kiev itself. Well, that happens in, history a lot. It's like France, right? The name France comes from the Franks. The Franks were German kings, right? Franconia, where Drachenlord is from, close to Bavaria, was like a kingdom, whatever. And those kings went to France, and they became the French kings. And that became, so this happens all the time in history, shit like that. This is why all these claims, this is dependent on that. They're always like propaganda related and perspective. And, it's like everything in science. It's just like nuances. It is, however, true that the first Russian Tsar's dynasty was a branch and a continuation of the Kievan Rurikids dynasty. And at this point, I want to say something about my own biases, because I didn't point that out at the time because it just didn't occur to me. But I think I should do now. Because I like doing that. I like to tell you about my biases. And for that, I would like you to go now to if you haven't been there yet, to the show notes, privatecitizen.press. If you go to episode 110, if you want to go there directly, privatecitizen.press/episode/110. If you scroll down to producer feedback, there's the message from Necros I just read out, and I put a map on that. This is a German map, but the names don't really have to tell you anything. You don't really have to read them. But this is a map of the Holy Roman Empire in the 12th century. And I've talked about this on other podcasts before, but not on this one. So I might as well do that now. I'm German, right? So I have maybe a different view than other people. And I think this is a very, among Germans who studied history, I think this is a common view, and those people are usually called conservatives. Most of the more progressive people tend to not have studied history, and they don't know about this really. They learned a little bit about this in school, but it never really sunk in, I feel. And in other countries, it's quite common to be... I feel, or I've noticed, to be sympathetic of parts of the country you want to break away, right? So there's the German political mainstream, which is quite left, is like, yeah, so if provinces of Spain want to break away, that's cool, right? There's, the Basques in France and in Spain, and, these other provinces. The separatists, and we usually like the main political mainstream in Germany is generally very supportive of these, or like the Scots want to break away from the UK. Now I have a very different view of that. I'm very generally not in favor of this. What in recent times has also often been called Balkanization, because it's exactly what happened to the Balkans in modern history. This like secession movements, right? And countries splitting apart. And I think it makes countries weaker. Now, this is very much a bias that comes from me studying. Well, I studied modern history, but I was also interested in the history of Germany before that. And, so if you look at this map of the Holy Roman Empire, this is Germany in the 12th century. So Germany, I've talked about this before, wasn't a nation state until Bismarck made it one in 1871. Before this, Germany was the holy. So, the Bismarck Reich is usually called the Second Reich. There was, the first Reich, the first empire would be the Holy Roman Empire. Then Bismarck founded the German empire, you know, with exclusion specifically of Austria-Hungary back in the day. And then the Third Reich, the third empire would be Hitler's, of course. But this is what Germany looked like before it was a nation state. So you see this very, 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 the map looks like a fucking school, like, child in, like, second grade just took crayons and just vandalized the map, right? This is like, I don't know how many, this probably 100 kingdoms. Like, there are all these little kingdoms. And this is all made up. In Germany, we call it Heiliges Römisches Reich Deutscher Nation, the Holy Roman Empire of the German nation. So this was basically Germany. I mean, it has, you can see Italy belongs to it, at least up until the where the church state is. It says Kirchenstaat. That's the church state. It's Rome. This was Germany. So, you know, Germany used to be all these little kingdoms. They all spoke kind of German. This is why German has so many dialects for a relatively small country, because, you know, they were all very, very small, and there was different cultures involved. So, you know, where I'm right now in Düsseldorf. Let me just see, where would we be right now? This would be Wesel. Wesel would actually be its own kingdom. There was the Grafschaft Kleve. This is why. Oh no, we wouldn't be in Wesel. We're actually in the Grafschaft Kleve. Then Cologne was its own independent city. It's like all these countries, and this is like this is where my bias comes from, because the German history is very special, because Germany very late, right, 1871. So only in the 19th century did Germany transcend this fucking Balkanization and became its own country. And I am very, very conscious of how shitty it was back then. I'm not saying like it would fall apart again, but like when people say, oh yeah, Bavaria is really not Germany, they should, I mean, there's some arguments there, but like they should become their own country. Like, it's horrible. Like, imagine like traveling in this. Like, there were like border controls. I mean, it's not like today, right? And you could not travel that fast. But if you wanted to go, like France, where's France next to it is a country, right? You can just go across there everywhere. Or Hungary or Poland, or, you know, you can just go anywhere. In these, you actually had, like, they're all these different lords. And you'd go from one kingdom or from one dukedom or whatever to the next one, and it would be all these different rules, and like you'd import and export, and like this is why the German economy never got anywhere in the Middle Ages, right? Because everybody was paying taxes to everybody. You couldn't ship goods. Like, it held the whole country back. This is why it wasn't a country. It was just like this little thing, and then all these little things, and then they made one empire, but it wasn't really an empire, right? The Holy Roman Empire, just like, look how big it is, right? If that was one country, if that was actually one empire, it would have conquered like France or whatever, right? You could have actually conquered things. But the Holy Roman Empire, for the almost its own existence, was just infinite. Just look at the 30 Years' War, and it like that's one of the one of those things that happened. It's just like, it's ridiculous. So this is one of my biases. This is why I'm generally against like countries going, oh yeah, but we are our own country. I'm not saying it's not justified for Ukraine, right? That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying this is where I come from. This is why I probably have less tolerance for secessionist movements than other people. And I think actually any German that knows history should, like, I mean, I don't understand why a lot of them don't feel like I do. I tend to think it's because they don't know history, really. But, you know, that's up to debate. But those are my biases. And this is why. Anyway, so just wanted to mention that. Anyway, Nikos also commented on episode 106. This was my let's stop talking about SARS-CoV-2 stuff episode. He says, just to give an update, in Russia, anti-COVID measures, anti-SARS-CoV-2 measures, anti-COVID measures are being rapidly dropped. Masks in public places are still mandatory, but that is pretty much the only thing left. And many people ignore that as well. It is rarely enforced anymore. The running joke is COVID-19, this is very Russian, the running joke is COVID-19 is calling off its strains and dropping all business in Russia. To which Steve B., who's from Canada, replied, we have the same here. My province hasn't backed down on any restrictions or mandates, but the people have had enough. I was in a large store the other day, and out of the 20 people I saw, only the store manager was wearing a mask. Here the word is that Putin has ended the global pandemic. The situation in Germany is that the last change to the IFSG, Infektionsschutzgesetz, I was also talking about on the show, is actually running out in, I don't know, next week, I think. So they had to scramble to have a new law. Otherwise, the restrictions would go away. And they've actually, I think from like in 2 weeks or next week or whatever, we will not have any federal restrictions anymore. So what they did is like there are no federal mandates for anything anymore. And they've reduced a lot of things the federal states and cities and territories can do. But it's now in their hands. So if Düsseldorf says, well, our magical incidence number is still too high, we're going to have masks, they can do that. But it reads like it's going to be mostly masks in like medical situations, in hospitals and care homes and stuff like that, maybe schools. It reads like there's actually the actual mask mandate in stores is going to go away. And it's going to be very regional, which is going to create a whole nother that'll create another situation where nobody knows what's happening. And I think it's going to, reading this from other countries, I think the same thing is going to happen in Germany. I think people have also had enough here, which is, Germany, that says a lot. We like to follow rules. I think like a year ago or like half a year ago, it would have been like, if you're not sure, the majority would have worn a mask. I think it's now going to turn. It's going to be, if there's confusion, people will just not wear a mask. They'll probably have it in their pocket. And if somebody goes, you have to wear a mask, so they go like, all right, I'm wearing a mask. But yeah, it feels very much the same. Which I think it's about fucking time. I mean, you can see the numbers of people who have it are higher than they ever were in Germany right now. So pretty much everybody has it, like every 10th person or whatever, almost. Every 100th person, pretty much we are up to right now, I think. But it's like the death rate has just plummeted. Probably because of high vaccination rate, whatever. It was actually funny to see. Just a side note, it's funny to see like the mainstream, meaning well, Twitter. We like to, we mean well. Seeing that there's obviously a lot of refugees coming in from Ukraine. A lot of them are going into Germany, and like their vaccination rates like 30% or whatever. And they were like, people really had to twist their knickers in a knot because all those people, oh no, you're not vaccinated, you're the devil. I know, like, but we are pro-refugees, but all the refugees aren't vaccinated. Well, they get a free pass because they're Ukrainian refugees. Yeah, because I don't know. We're going to talk about Ukraine and this whole situation again. There's been some developments that are just not so much about the war, but more about the propaganda war that's raging alongside it, that I actually find a lot more interesting, because there's still no real information what's going on in Ukraine. Actually, it's like really hard to I know nothing from Russia how the situation is actually there. There's all these reports of people getting arrested that are against the war, but like I have no idea what the actual support numbers are. It's probably hard to say, like, countrywide, because it's so big and so diverse. Who knows? But I'm going to keep on the topic, and, this Drachenlord was a bit of a diversion now, but I wanted to talk about it before his court case. And I thought this quit quite well. Yes, so please please also send me feedback. If you have anything on previous episodes, on this episode, if you have an opinion on Drachenlord, on bullying, on free speech, on hate speech, on Ukraine, on the Russians, on the privacy, whatever you want. I got some good suggestions for show topics. I haven't answered all of your emails. I'm aware of that. It's just the situation I'm in right now. But yeah, I finished my novel. Did I say that last episode? Was I finished last episode? I was, wasn't I? I finished my novel. So that's a good thing. Now I just have to type it all up. All the pages I wrote last month. But anyway, please send me feedback. I would appreciate that a lot. It's very important to me. There's a link to the whistleblower contact form in the show notes as well. Private citizen press. If you're in Russia, whatever, you probably should use that. All right. And with that, we are winding up the show. And I'm gonna have to thank some people. So yeah, as you know, I do this because I think this is important. It's not really part of my job. I mean, I'm a freelance journalist, but I like to do this as a passion project. Nobody's really paying me for it, except the people who, see this and think this is, or listen to it and think this is important. And I appreciate that very much. Thanks to all of you. If you want to be part of that group, of my own community of very much not haters, but if you want to become a hater and throw money, then that's okay as well. As long as it's not the majority of my community, like it's the case for Rainer, I'm okay with that. So you can become a patron on Patreon. You can help out, or you can use PayPal. Email address is in the show notes. Private Citizen Press. Yeah, and please do, because I fucking need money. I just bought that graphics card, which I've been meaning to for a year. I just couldn't. And this is like, half of it is like my Christmas present, all right? This is all like all the money I saved for that. But like, dude, I'm broke. This graphics card might as well have been made out of pure gold. So please, help me out here. Anyway, enough begging. Let's get to the people who helped me out and who I'd like to thank here. And yeah, I'm indebted to all of them. So thanks to my wonderful community here. Thanks to Georges, Steve Host, Butterbeans, Michael Small, Rodane the Insane, Johnson M. Heathy, Michael Mullen Jensen, Dave, 1I11G, Jaroslav Lichtblau, Jackie Plage, Philip Klostermann. Oh shit, I did wrong. I have to do it from the beginning. Jonathan was giving me shit that I was mispronouncing his name, and I've been doing it again. Georges, so I'm going to repeat all of your names because I need to pronounce Jonathan's name right. Georges, Steve Host, Butterbeans, Michael Small, Rodane the Insane, Jonathan M. Heday, I think. He told me, but then he was like, he used this, I'm good. Jonathan M. Heday. Jonathan, if this is still wrong, you need to send me an audio file. Michael Mullen Jensen, Dave, 1I11G, or IPA, in International Phonetic Alphabet. 1I11G, Jaroslav Lichtblau, Jackie Plage, Philip Klostermann, IKN, Philip, Bennett Piata, Sandman616, Vlad, Tobias, Mode 7, Kai Sears, Joe Poser, Fadi Mansour, Dirk Didi, Rizal, Avis, David Potter, Mika, Mr. Amish, Cam, Dave Umrish, Ricky M, Barry Williams, Jonathan, RJ Tracy, Rick Bragg, Captain Eckhead, Astro C, Robert Foster, Superuser D, and No Reply. Thanks to all of you. If I pronounce any name wrong, please let me know. If you want to change your name to anything else, if you want to support me not get mentioned, please just let me know. You can do that on Patreon. You can send me an email. I will honor your request. And since I'm streaming this live on Twitch, I also have to thank all my Twitch subscribers, which are either supporting my gaming habits and my graphics card purchases, or also this podcast, or both. So thanks to Mike the Dane, Jonathan MH_com, L Terrestrius Jim, Bacon the Pork, Redeemer F, Astral C1, The Panzer, Hoover Star, Borklet, Quad Damage, Nomt771, and my friend Helifa. Thanks to all of you. I also have to thank Bytemark. bytemark.co.uk. They provide the servers and the bandwidth I use to send you the audio files. Or if you request the audio files, you get them from them. And bytemark.co.uk, the UK cloud hosting company, they're excellent. Couldn't do this thing without them. And I appreciate them for that very much. And yeah, with that, I'm out of here. I'll be back next week with another episode as usual. Until then, I also have to credit Raoul Kabzali for the theme song for this podcast. And I'm going to play you out with the song called Gods of Jupiter by Splasher. Splasher exclamation mark, which is a great song. So, yeah. See you, metal, Leute. See you on the other side. Metal off. I really like that song. That is a good song. All right. Let's save this. I'm gonna switch the audio interface now. A second here. Let me see. Now we can kill this. Shut down that. Let me see. Is it still playing? God, I love this song. Really good. Very cyberpunk. Right. Gonna go for a break now. And then I'm gonna edit this podcast. All right. And then get it out. So don't go anywhere. I'll be back very soon. If I can hit the break button. See you soon. Mm-hmm. All right. Let's get this podcast out, shall we? Let's fix the stuff in post that I was saying we're gonna fix in post. All right. You're listening to the Private Citizen podcast for critical thinkers. You're listening to the Private Citizen podcast for critical thinkers. This is episode 110 for Saturday, the 12th of March, 2022. Drachenlord on tour. Hello everybody, my Nick, and I just want to revise something from the first episode before we get into what I actually want to talk about today. What today? I would recommend. Look. Stop playing. Jesus. So for this episode, I sometimes do episodes that build onto each other, and for this episode in particular, I would recommend. Sorry, I'm just drinking some red wine here. You know, you can't just I'm still recovering, but it's not that bad. I gotta get back to having some nice days in my life, nice things in my life. Oh, for fuck's sake! Okay, here we go. And now there are consequences that come with this, and he. All right. The last episode on this. And actually, I'm gonna have to fix this in post because I really need to take my hoodie off because I'm really hot. Well, I'm warm. I don't want you to misunderstand it. Also, my back. Wow. Understand it. Also, my. Did you hear that? To misunderstand it. Also, my. That fucking pop. Misunderstand it. Also, my. Jesus. My back's fucked. There we go. Did I just throw that somewhere where you can see it? No, that's all right. Can't see that. I'm gonna do this properly. Anyway. Also, you can tell why I didn't want to do a podcast for a while. My voice is gonna So we've all right. The last episode on this. So with all of that out of the way, let's talk about what's happened to him since I've recorded the last episode. So, you know, as you will remember, he had that court case and then drove back down here. Oh, God. Last week. Last week, like on last week. Last week he went down. To Bremerhaven, to the sea, and then drove back down. And then in the previous, like on last week, he went down to the last week he went down to the Bodensee. He went down. Sounds weird. I'm gonna need to fix that. He went down last week. He went down to. That's not gonna work like that. Last week he went down. Last week. Okay, what I'm gonna do is. It's not as good, but. Last week. On last week you on last. Can I cut it there? This is a nightmare. And then in the previous like last week you. Yeah, I think that works. Okay. And then in the previous like last week you went down. Like last week you went down. And then in the previous like last week you went down to the back down. And then in the previous, and then I'm usually not that fussy about this kind of thing. But I don't know. Sometimes. And then last week you went down to the. And then last week you went down. Yeah, I think that's kind of okay. Bremen, and then to Bremerhaven, to the sea, and then drove back down. And then last week you went down to the Bodensee, Lake Constance. Lake Constance down there, the southern border of Germany. Either to the Constitutional Court, I think in this case it was always, and then he could appeal to the Constitutional Court. Maybe it's not clear if they would take the case, but like he could try. Sorry, I'm gonna have to. But they could try, but he would have to go to jail. Fix that in post. A lot to fix in post today. Fucking virus. go to jail, and then he could appeal to the Constitutional Court. Maybe it's not clear if they would take the case, but like he could try. But they could try, but he would have to go to jail, right? He would be in jail, and then there'd be a Constitutional Court. But I don't think that would actually. Yeah. There'll be books written on this developments, and let's move into the feedback section, because that's something we need to do now. So, on the forum, we had Necros coming in. From Russia. So I'm just closing a water bottle. I was in danger of kicking that over. I didn't want to kick that into my PC that is now housing a almost 2,000 euros graphics card, because I finally had to splurge one at least. Now I just have to type it all up. All right, and with that, we are winding up the show, and I'm gonna have to thank some people. Wow, you can hear like how my voice is going. God. Have to thank some cough casting, and I'm gonna have to thank some people. So yeah, as you know, I do this because I think this is important. It's not really part of my job. I provide the servers and the bandwidth podcast. And I'm gonna play you out with the song called Gods of Jupiter by Splasher. Splasher exclamation mark, which is a great song. So yeah, see you, metal, Leute. See you on the other side. Let's tighten that up a little bit. Great song. So, yeah. Metal off. Which is a great song. So, yeah. Metal off. So, yeah, metal off. Should really play some metal after that, but I just like that song so much. It's such a good song. Yeah, metal off. Metal off. Metal off. I'm thinking of using that as my new like channel in like intro thing before I start the stream, because it just builds hype nicely. Now, I need to check levels on this. See how loud that is. Turn that down because it's much more compressed and therefore sounds louder. And yeah, with that, I'm out of here. I'll be back next week with another episode as usual. Until then, I also have to credit Raoul Kabzali for the theme song for this podcast. And I'm going to play you out with the song called Gods of Jupiter by Splasher. Splasher exclamation mark, which is a great song. So, yeah, metal off. channel intro. I'm gonna have to create a new, like, when I'm going live, it's like the intro. It's like how it builds hype. Then it does this thing now when you think it's over. It starts again. That. Oh shit. You want this? Nope. All right. In the meantime, play some music. Now that we're finished with the editing, where's my... Have I lost Atom? Okay. Can I okay. Yeah. That's the teaser image. Drachenlord streaming in his car. Alright. Good. I wonder what Khalifa is up to. What's Khalifa doing? Oh, Khalifa's on a break. like the stream title. What the heck is Ghost Runner? Cyberpunk action platformer. It's some fucking good graphics for a platformer. Huh. When did this come out? September. Never heard of this. Fuck. Oh. Oh, she's playing it now. We don't need to watch the fucking video. She's just died. Oh no, she has to play without glasses. Christ.
Oh, nice. No.
Oh, Jonathan is hanging out, helping,
Creative,
providing emotional support.
because they actually recognize that you play better without glasses.
That's a, I mean, wow.
Why
It's
do I
like-
still do this thing
like the
where
Jedi
Some fucking
training,
good
you know, where,
graphics for a platformer. I
He
gotta
needs
say.
to do stuff blindfolded, and he's like, "How am I gonna dodge the thing?" And his Jedi master goes like, "Oh, you will know. The Force will tell you where the practice drone is." You know what I mean?
Oh my god, this
I don't have
game,
the force. I would like some
this
force.
game
Can I have
looks
some force?
infuriating.
You have the Force. You just need to find it within you.
Jonathan, so you have you got the game as well, I understand?
Yeah. This is correct.
Magellan.
I think you cut out there for a second. I couldn't hear you.
5423 Meter.
I'm so tense. This is a full body workout for me. It's funny. It's like it's such a. It's like as if I'm doing this. It looks beautiful. It has a beautiful soundtrack, and it's fucking horrible. This is my Elden Ring.
Oh yeah, Elden Ring when?
No. How are you, Fabs? I saw you played some Deathloop today. How was it with the new graphics card?
He basically spent the entire stream talking about that. Oh my god, this looks so good. Oh my god, look at this ray tracing. He just kept wiggling around and commenting on how it looked like fucking dog shit on his old card, and then just had like fucking GPU gasms for like.
I mean,
minutes
Jonathan,
at a time.
don't say you wouldn't do that as well.
Well, you know, I'm not saying I wouldn't do it. I'm just reporting how much that was.
I
mean,
am
I
not in
did
control of my movement
play
here
it
at
in
all.
like SVGA
I'm not reading
resolution
chat, by the way.
before, so.
I am stressed. I'm stressed. You might be able to tell.
Are you stressed, Jen? Are you stressed, Jen? Are you stressed? Jen, are you stressed yet? Are you stressed? Are you stressed? Are you stressed, Jen? What's she doing?
You played in 800 times 600 before? Well, that's your own. I mean, that's your own problem then, Fabs. If you did not manage...
so his graphic card was able to run it. You numbnut. Not because he was too dumb to set the resolution correctly.
I know that. I wanted to make a joke. I assumed that he did not play in 800 600. That would be, I mean, even I would think that that's maybe...
No, he had to set the game to the resolution so it would run.
It's like, seriously?
Yeah. Or so it would run semi-fluidly, you know.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
bad.
seriously.
Yes.
I'm not pressing the right buttons! I'm not pressing the right buttons! I'm not pressing the right buttons!
She's like, it's hilarious. Okay. I mean, the graphics card's not speeding up this process. It's very much processor bound.
Why am I not dashing? Sometimes I really feel like I'm not dashing even though I'm pressing the shift.
Why
it
is she
because
still
it has a
alive?
Blah?
I think it does have a cooldown. Yeah. You can't spam it. You need to be conscious.
I like the
and
soundtrack.
in
Yeah, the
control
soundtrack's ace.
of this ability.
It's fun to watch your story.
Yeah, it is. I
So
mean, that-
there's this. The dude to the left is still alive, right? Wait, no. Okay, I killed the 3. Now I have the 2 last left. The ones that are always left.
why can't you shoot people?
Well, hello, Farb stream. Cheers.
Cheers. Don't have any wine left. I'm gonna get some wine. Yeah, I will be back to Deathloop after this. I'm just like,
Thank you, Orange,
just
for
spending
redeeming.
time.
Lose the glasses. Much appreciated.
oh, I thought he's
Um,
also contributed to the hot ones. I thought he was gonna go lose the glasses
no,
again.
He was still alive.
No, you fell. You died. She died 123 times. Holy shit.
I can see. I better get to ordering those hot dogs also, huh?
I can't see that. How is it
Did he
looking?
shoot you?
Well, people are making use of it.
Well, good for them.
Oh my god, this game. Oh my god, this game. This is horrible. She can't.
Why did it not?
She can't get over there. That's her nemesis.
No, why it didn't? I know why it didn't. It's because it didn't target anyone. But still, let me rage.
Yeah.
With the glasses.
sign of, the sign of every great sportsman or woman.
Let me
needs his
rage.
without a target. You know, I think you would be one of these tennis players that beats up the children that are getting you the tennis ball.
Yeah,
with
John
their
McEnroe.
racket.
Leave us the
You know, unchecked aggression. You know, toxic
John
masculinity.
John McEnroe.
So you're going up to
gaming.
Dharma City.
Yes.
Well, first you have to get through the base, and much has changed since you've
She
been
just
gone.
had an orgasm.
John
I can-
McEnroe. I have no idea who that is. But
I can now
have a
stop
feeling
the
I need
stream.
I need to look that up.
I can now stop the stream. I did it, guys.
Congratulations, you defeated the second room of today's 16.
I think she just had an orgasm. Ah, God.
3.
Tuning in
3
was
rooms.
already
I don't
worth
think.
it.
I don't. Let's see. I don't think I'm going
Okay.
past this level.
Need to
And I mean,
export
this was
as
the
well.
second room, so we know the third room will be much harder.
You can still die if you don't make it to the dot, right? Or
I think. You
will
think?
it then just kick you out of the, I don't know.
Oh my God.
If you, if
You think
die,
it will not save that I
I don't know.
don't jinx the job.
Oh yeah, that's how you run.
Okay, are we enemy free here? Is it? Is this just a jumping puzzle? And I say just. Oh, is he the one who actually kicked the
Yes.
person that is sitting on the chair? I don't think they're the judge, but they're the ones who make sure that the ball is inside of the fields. And he once kicked them or something. I think I
he?
saw.
I just know we kept breaking his
I saw
racket.
some video clips of at least one tennis player do that, and he got in front of court or something. I'm glad you're having fun, Orange. I'm glad you're having fun. I mean, the jumping puzzles are also very, very frustrating. Like, really. But at least they're not as
Gonna
stressful
look.
There is
as-
no law here anymore.
Gonna
Just
lock
team
this
after
window.
fiends. pushing everyone around and
I
shouting
say that
orders.
now. I'm looking at this jumping puzzle. I
Some
can
of us
already
didn't.
tell I'm gonna hate this.
You had visited the base often in the past. Towards the end of our time, this place became overrun with criminals. Ghost runners kept them at bay until Mara took over.
Trying to figure out where they want me to go. I mean, there's a wall here. But I mean, that's not really getting me anywhere. I guess I need to jump over these things,
you need
but
to
where
jump
to?
on
is
the
what I'm-
moving
like, up-
parts.
but
and
how do I
then
get up there?
you go over there,
I mean, I guess I
and
should
then
just
you go
do
over
it,
there,
huh?
and then you need to jump over this.
Yes, that is, go
No,
for
no, no,
like-
no, no, on the left. No, 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 no. No, no.
Okay, this was not a way.
Here, and then you jump over
Am I
there.
supposed to
Anyway,
get up there? I assume they want me to get.
let's get back to podcast. I think I'm gonna lurk this window. You gotta support your other small streamers. All right, what we need to do here now is wrong. Episodes. No. Private Citizen episodes. No. You're listening to the Private Citizen podcast for critical thinkers. This is episode 110 for Saturday, the 12th of March, 2022. Drachenlord on tour. For a year, I just couldn't. And this is like, half of it is like my Christmas present. Just listen to my voice here.
To find out what your Steam handle is or whatever, or your Xbox gamer tag, Johnson's name, right?
And the voice there.
Georges, Steve Hose, Butterbeans,
You
Michael
can hear
Small,
those 2 hours.
Rodane the Insane, Jonat, and
For the theme. It's very sad. That could be right in that game. Right. All right. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna wait for this to export, and then I'm gonna upload this show and put it live. And after that, I'm gonna be back. So it's gonna be a little bit of a longer break. I'm gonna reset everything to Deathloop, right? So it's gonna be 10 minutes or so. I'm gonna upload everything, fix everything. You'll be on a break screen. I'm gonna reset all the stuff to Deathloop, and then we're gonna play a little bit more Deathloop. All right. So don't go anywhere. A bit of a longer break. See you on the other end of it. Righty. I'm back. Let's go back to the loop. As you might remember, we now have to kill Wenji. We gotta prepare and then kill Wenji because I died last time I tried. That rhymes. Oh, no, wait. And I fucking forgot to go on the screen again that I can cut. Okay, just give me a second here while I fire up this game. And then I'll have to do that. I'm sorry about that. Please remember to do this. Come on, go. Get out of my face. Get out of my face, game. Game face. Put the game face on. Alright, just gonna click through this. Alright. I'll tap out of this. Alright. Be right back. Sorry about this.